Hey everyone, today I'm going to be doing a first impression of the Estee Lauder Double Wear foundation. Now I know everyone's talked about this. I'm the last one to talk about it, I'm sure, but I wanted to try out a new foundation and obviously this is a cult favorite. I'll tell you a little bit about the foundation. It is the Estee Lauder Double Wear Stay in Place makeup. You get 1 fluid ounce and it is $38 and you can get it at Sephora and wherever Estee Lauder is carried, which is in most department stores. You can also order it online. So on the website, there's some information. So it says, it is a long-wearing makeup with 15-hour staying power, looks flawless and natural, lasts through heat, humidity, and non-stop activity. It won't change color, smudge, or come off on clothes. Feels lightweight and comfortable for a look that lasts all day without touch-ups. So 15-hour wear, medium coverage, buildable medium coverage, and the finish is a natural or semi-matte, and then it is oil-free and non-acnegenic and dermatologist tested. And it has really great reviews online. So it says medium coverage, which is, I find kind of interesting because a lot of people say it's like the fullest coverage they've ever worn, but yes, and then as for shade range, there are 28 shades, which is very extensive. I think for a nicer department store brand like this, though, that's more common. But the shades range from very light to very dark, which I think is great. The only thing about it is it makes it a little bit difficult to choose your shade because there are so many. So I went with 1W2 Sand, which I will obviously show you. So that looks like a decent match. So the way that the shades work is you have I don't exactly know how the numbers work, like the order of the numbers, but you have warm, cool, and natural. So I got the W, which is the warm because I have very yellow toned skin, like hello. But I believe it works where it's like the 1 is lighter than if you got 2W2. So the 1W2 is lighter, but then the 2 at the end means that it's darker than the 1W1, which I don't know. But I went on the Temptalia Foundation Matrix, and this is the shade that it selected for me because I use the Tarte Amazonian Clay in Light Sand. And I did a little bit of research and people said that they like to apply it with a brush. So I'm going to use my everyday foundation brush. It's the Real Techniques buffing brush. But what I'm going to do as well is go over it with the sponge just because I feel like that takes away a lot of the cakiness. So I'm going to use my Urban Decay All-Nighter Setting Spray because I always do that. And then I've been trying out the Makeup Forever mattifying little primer. I like to apply it kind of in this area where I get the most oily and also down my nose and just pat the rest on my chin. But mostly right here because this is where I get the most oil. Well, it definitely has that older makeup smell. I think this is going to work. I'm just going to do one side of my face. So I'm just going to I like to kind of press it into the skin first and blend it out towards the ears and the jawline. I think color-wise, it's a match. Yes! How does that happen? How did I actually choose my correct shade? That never happens. So let's compare this side to this side. Yeah, that looks pretty good. And as you can see, I'm really not using a lot. This is a very thin layer. Honestly, first impression, I'm very impressed. It's not cakey. Everyone says it's super full coverage and I was expecting it to be really thick and almost mask-like. but it feels nice. So this is one layer. Okay, that builds like incredibly well. You honestly don't even need to go over it with a sponge. I feel like the coverage on that, I always do that. I feel like that coverage built up really nicely. I don't like super full coverage because then you can feel it on your face, but I think you can definitely tell this side has 2 layers. But it still feels nice. There's a little spot right there. But I don't expect it to cover up everything, so I think it looks good. So I'm going to apply the rest of my makeup and then I will tell you how everything kind of sat on top and how I'm feeling. I am definitely liking the foundation. Now I need to see what it looks like in natural daylight, so like outside, and how it wears. So I will continue to check in with you. Overall, it looks pretty nice. Like everything laid on top of it, of the foundation really well. So yes, it is currently 10:18. So I will check in with you all in a few hours. So it is now 6 o'clock, so I've had the foundation on for right about at 8 hours, and that's usually where I stop with first impression review type of things, because I feel like the 8 to 9 hour mark is how long most people would have their makeup on. That's like a typical school or work day. And I have not touched up my face at all. And just from the viewfinder and with my lights, it looks really good on camera. I will say it looks really great. I haven't looked at it up close with the mirror, and I need to say that I have not touched up a single bit. I haven't been touching my face. I didn't powder. I didn't even powder to begin with. I don't know if you realize that or not, but I didn't set my face with a powder. I didn't touch up with a powder. No blotting sheets, nothing. And I have been, let's see, I was out and about. I vlogged today, so you'll see what I was doing, but I was at the mall. I was trying things on. Okay. Trying on turtlenecks is probably about the dumbest thing you can do when you have foundation on, period, because it kind of like gets everywhere. That was stupid on my part, but anyway. So, I've got my mirror. Let's see how it held up. So, it says it's a pretty natural, I think it says semi-matte finish or something like that, and it's definitely not a dewy or glowy foundation, because even after 8 hours of wear and my oily skin, it's not really bad. I mean, yeah, I'm shiny where I always am shiny, like on my nose and along my cheeks, but it doesn't feel as bad as usual. Like usually I can really feel the oil, and like I said, I didn't set my face, I didn't powder, touch up, or anything. And honestly, I feel like anyone who wears any sort of makeup for 8 hours is going to at some point touch it up in some way. You know, you're gonna go to the bathroom and be like, oh, okay, you know, like it's not realistic to think that during the whole entire 8 hours you're never going to be able to touch up. So I feel like you should be able to. So typically what I do is if I'm out and about, I'll use a blotting sheet or a tissue or whatever I have. But if I'm at home, instead of doing that or adding any more product, I never powder unless I've used a blotting sheet. What I'll usually do is go back in with my foundation brush and kind of just go over the parts that are oily. It kind of just redistributes everything, blends everything back out if it's kind of settled or separated or anything, and it takes a lot of the shine away. I feel like that instantly looks better. You could also take a sponge and blot away any of the excess. Excuse me. And I feel like this automatically makes it look a lot better. So we'll zoom you in close. This is really close so you can see. I mean, there is a little bit of wear. I'm sorry guys, my under eyes, I'm so glad it's not really picking up how bad my under eyes look. I need to do some eye cream because my under eye area is horrendous. But that's not the foundation, so I'm not going to talk about that. I think it held up pretty well. It did kind of separate a little bit in the areas where I used concealer and have kind of problem areas. But overall, I mean, like, no one's going to be looking at you this up, you know, like this up close. Like, so from the distance that people would be looking at you, I think it looks pretty good, especially if you did a touch-up. So my first impression is pretty good. I am pretty impressed. Oh, and I changed my shirt. I'm sure you noticed that, but I thought I would mention it. I don't know, that's a little weird. But I'm pretty impressed. Now, we will have to see how I continue to like it, and I will definitely update you at some point. It still feels nice and comfortable on my skin. It doesn't feel super thick or heavy or anything, which again, I'm surprised about because I always thought it would be really thick and kind of mask-like and just like cover everything. Now, I'm sure you could really build it up and get to that, but I'm not looking for that type of intense coverage on a daily basis. Tell me what you all think of the foundation if you've tried it in the comments down below. Leave any other requests, any other products that you would like me to try out, if you can think of anything. But yeah, I hope you all enjoyed this video, and I hope you're having a fantastic day. And yeah, I will see you all in my next video. Bye everyone.